It all began on one of those days that feel unusually heavy, even though the world outside seems perfectly ordinary. The sun hung high in the afternoon sky, cars rolled steadily down the busy street, and people hurried in and out of storefronts with their bags and their errands. But for a small boy standing at the glass window of a diner, life did not move in the same rhythm as the others. His hands pressed against the cold glass, his eyes scanning the plates of steaming food being carried from the kitchen to hungry customers. His clothes were worn, his shoes scuffed, and his face carried the look of someone far older than his actual years, a look of hunger, of longing, of defeat. He hadn't eaten properly in 2 days, and the ache in his stomach had grown so sharp it made his tiny body shiver. Before we dive into what happened next, let me pause for just a moment. If you believe every child deserves compassion, a meal, and dignity, then please take a second right now to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with friends. Your support helps us continue spreading real stories that touch hearts and inspire hope across the world. Now, let's get back to this powerful story. The boy had been standing there for nearly 20 minutes before his trembling hands pushed open the diner door. The warmth of the place wrapped around him immediately, bringing with it the intoxicating aroma of freshly fried food, grilled burgers, and sweet pies cooling behind the counter. His stomach growled so loudly he was sure the nearest customers heard it. He shuffled closer to the counter, his small voice almost too quiet to catch as he asked the manager if there was any chance of getting something to eat. Not for free, he explained quickly, though he had almost nothing in his pockets. He was willing to sweep floors, wipe tables, carry trash, anything, if only they would give him a sandwich or maybe a bowl of soup. But the manager didn't hear his plea as a cry for help. Instead, he saw a nuisance. A boy with messy hair, dirt-stained clothes, and no money. His expression hardened, his voice sharp as he barked at the child, telling him this wasn't a shelter, that customers came to eat and pay, not to stare at plates like strays waiting for scraps. The boy tried to explain again, desperation cracking his words, but the man's patience had already snapped. He reached over the counter, grabbed the boy by the arm, and dragged him toward the door. With one harsh push, he shoved him outside into the brightness of the day. The glass door slammed shut, leaving the boy out on the sidewalk again, cheeks burning from shame, eyes stinging with tears. Inside the diner, no one moved. A few customers glanced at each other, uncomfortable but silent. The manager straightened his apron, muttering under his breath as though throwing out a hungry child was just part of a day's work. Outside, the boy sank onto the curb, hugging his knees, trying to swallow the sobs clawing up his throat. The world seemed crueler than ever, and he wondered how much longer he could keep enduring days like this. But fate has a way of weaving people into each other's lives at the exact moments they are most needed. Only a few minutes after the boy had been cast out, the steady rumble of engines rolled down the street. One by one, motorcycles came to a stop right outside the diner. The noise turned heads instantly, the kind of deep, growling sound that made people sit up straighter. A group of bikers, leather jackets gleaming, boots heavy against the pavement, walked toward the door in unison. They looked tough, intimidating even, the kind of crew you wouldn't want to cross paths with if you were alone in an alley. Customers inside the diner stiffened slightly as the door opened and the group filed in, their presence filling the space like a wave of power. The boy lifted his head as they passed him, their boots thudding on the sidewalk just inches away. He shrank back, half afraid, half curious. Something about the way they moved, confident, strong, and yet strangely calm, pulled at his attention. The bikers didn't notice him at first, their focus was on the tables inside. But when the last one, a tall man with a silver beard and eyes that missed nothing, glanced down, he caught sight of the boy sitting on the curb. For just a second, their eyes locked. Hunger. Pain. Loneliness. That was what the biker saw in the boy's face, and it stopped him cold. Inside, the bikers claimed a table, their heavy voices filling the room as they ordered a feast, burgers, fries, sodas, shakes. The manager, nervous but eager for a big bill, forced a smile and scurried to the kitchen. But the silver-bearded biker didn't sit right away. He lingered at the window, looking out at the boy who was now wiping his face with the back of his sleeve, trying to hide the tears that betrayed him. Something inside the man shifted. He had seen many hard roads in his life, had lived through nights of hunger himself, and that look, the look of a child feeling invisible in a world that had plenty, was one he could not ignore. And so, with the entire diner watching, he turned, walked back out the door, and crouched down in front of the boy. He asked him quietly what his name was, why he was sitting there alone. The boy's words tumbled out in a broken whisper. He was just hungry, that was all. Hungry and tired, and turned away. The biker listened without judgment, then nodded once, the decision already made. He stood, reached out his hand, and told the boy to come inside with him. When the biker pushed the door open again, leading the child by the hand, the diner went silent. The manager froze, his forced smile dropping instantly as he recognized the boy he had thrown out just minutes earlier. But the biker's eyes were steady, unflinching, as he walked the boy straight to the table where his crew sat. They shuffled over, making room without a word, their tough faces softening as the boy slid onto the bench between them. One of them tossed him a menu, another ruffled his hair. It was as though, in an instant, he had been claimed, no longer invisible, no longer alone. The manager stammered something about the boy not having money, but the silver-bearded biker cut him off with a stare so sharp it could split glass. He told the manager in a voice that carried through the entire room that the boy was with them now, and whatever he wanted to eat would be paid for in full. Customers shifted uncomfortably, some smiling quietly to themselves, others ashamed they hadn't spoken up earlier. The food arrived, plate after plate set before the boy, more than he had imagined in his wildest dreams. His hands shook as he picked up a fry, as though afraid it might vanish before he tasted it. The bikers encouraged him, telling him to eat, to fill himself, and slowly, the fear melted away. Bite after bite, warmth returned to his body, tears slipping down his cheeks as he whispered thank you between mouthfuls. What happened next is something that would linger with every witness in that diner. The bikers didn't just feed the boy, they gave him belonging. They talked to him, asked about his life, his dreams, where he was from. They listened when he spoke, and in those simple moments, they reminded him he mattered, that his existence was not a burden but a story still being written. The boy had come in hungry, but he left with something far greater than a full stomach. He left with dignity restored, with proof that kindness still existed in the world, sometimes in the places you least expect it. And as for the manager, his face remained pale the rest of the evening. He had been shown a mirror of his own cruelty, and while no one knew if he would change, the message was clear: compassion is not weakness, and to turn away a hungry child is to turn away your own humanity. So the next time you see someone in need, remember this story. Remember that kindness does not always come in gentle forms, it can arrive wearing leather jackets and riding motorcycles. It can stand up to injustice with strength and tenderness all at once. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder of hope, and don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together, we can fill the world with more compassion, one story at a time. And before you go, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Have you ever witnessed an act of unexpected kindness that stayed with you? Your stories might inspire someone else who needs hope today.